July 16th, 2025 meeting to order. We re-elected Jennifer for her 3-year term. All her paperwork's been completed. We are now a 7-member board. Oh, sorry, I put it in the wrong order on my own. I guess we'll do the pledge. Sorry. First day.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
That was great.
All right,
Let's
glad
start
you did it
over on
first.
that.
I'll do it 5 more times.
Jennifer's been re-elected for 3 years. All the paperwork's done, and we have a 7-member board now. So the first thing I will do is call for nomination for president.
I'd like to nominate Jennifer Bollingberg for president.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Any other nominations? Any other nominations? Any other nominations? Hearing none. DJ,
Yes.
Cody,
Yes.
Eric,
Yes.
Cindy,
Yes.
Jennifer,
Yes.
Michelle.
Yes.
I will turn it over to our new president.
Requesting nominations for vice president of the school board.
Who's the past one?
Jennifer?
Jennifer
I
was,
was.
oh yeah.
Is there any nominations for the vice president position?
I'll nominate Michelle.
Is there a second for the nomination of Michelle Elston to vice president?
Second.
Are there any further nominations for vice president for the school board? Seeing no nominations, other nominations, and no withdrawals. Lindsay, will you do a voice vote of approval?
Eric,
Yes.
Cindy,
Yes.
Jennifer,
Yes.
Michelle,
Yes.
Cody,
Yes.
DJ.
Yes.
Congratulations, Michelle.
Oh, congratulations, board president.
Mr. Curry, is there any adjustments to the agenda?
Yes, under new business, add letter B, establish BCN FFA chapter. And that would be the only one. We do on letter K, when it says consider appointing, we will change consider appointing Mr. Locken to Mrs. Bussey on letter K in new business also.
It's recommended on the agenda. Any other changes to the agenda?
Nope.
I need a voice vote of approval of the agenda, correct?
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve the agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
I will second.
And then it's just all in favor.
All in favor of the agenda?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. So we're into the consent agenda. You should have been able to review and hopefully have reviewed the minutes of the June 23rd special board meeting to canvass elections, the June 23rd regular board meeting. Lindsay, I can do all of it in one, right? Bills that were presented and the financial reports. Is there any questions or discussion on any of the items? Corrections?
I've got a couple questions for you.
Okay.
One was just on the bills. What's the Rocky Mountain evaluations?
We use that, when I say we, Mr. Lockett, Mrs. Bussey, and myself, we use that to do evaluations. So they use it to do teacher staff evaluations.
Okay.
I use it to do their evaluations, AD evaluations, Mrs. Fitz's evaluations. And it's just it's a digital platform to do those. And not just their formal evaluations. If they do pop-in visits, they use that platform to do them as well. Basically, they can walk out of the classroom hit send and it pretty much goes to the teacher right away. So it provides pretty quick feedback.
Eric, anything else?
Yep, on the building fund expenses. I don't know if I'm looking at that wrong, or why is it, there's 22,164 on 4 lines in a row there? For repairs, service by contractor, school wire and building fund. I just needed clarification as well.
Give me a second, let me find it. You're on the expenditure report, I assume?
Yep,
That's board packet
is that
2.
just,
I know, mine's in different order.
I'm just double checking so I can catch up with him. Board packet 2, you said, right?
It's just that way because that's how the report breaks it down, so the only.
so is that
act-
repairs and it just
the
carried through
only-
like
yep,
that?
The only actual, chart of account number is that first line there where it's the 03000 number. The rest is just saying that it's a 4220, which is the construction services code, and it's a school-wide thing for the building fund, so that's just breaking it down further, but it's only one actual dollar amount. It's not a total or anything.
Okay,
Yep, the total is 22,164 for the month.
For the month of June.
and then the last thing, so our revenue this year came in just about $1 million less than last year.
For the general fund?
We're just on the revenue expense comparison schedule,
Yes,
Oh,
on the board, final board packet you're talking.
yeah.
On the Excel spreadsheet side by side.
mhm.
23-24 was 5.475 million, 24-25 is 4.492.
In reality, that report for the revenue from last year might not be the final number, because after the report gets sent to
Right.
you, then there's journal entries that happen to code title correctly,
Right,
because those don't get filed till the very end of June. And then I make those back, like I just did them last week. So this report might not have that exact number. The budget number from last year would have had it, but I don't have it in front of me, so I can get it to you if you'd like it.
good for now?
You want me to follow up with you on what that number is? I can send it to the whole board.
Well, I was just kinda curious as to exactly how we came up with $1 million less from last year to this year.
I'll send it out. I just don't have it in front of me.
Any other questions, corrections, or anything on the consent agenda? Did I call it 3 times already? I'll do it one more
Think you
time,
did.
just for good. Questions, corrections, or discussion on the consent agenda? Not, I'm looking for a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll move to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second.
Voice vote of approval or by person?
By person.
By person.
Jennifer,
Yes.
Eric,
Yes.
Michelle,
Yes.
DJ,
Yes.
Cody,
Yes.
Cindy.
Yes. Okay, we're gonna move in here to item A, patron forum, anything that you're aware of?
Nothing on patron forum, no.
Okay. Administrative report, the superintendent is up first.
I sent that out today with kind of just a update on where we are as far as from our storm damages. Some of you went into the Ox Gym and looked at that and kind of have an idea where we're at with that gym. Talking to the guy, it sounds like as long as it's pumping water, they're just gonna keep that floor tented and the dehumidifiers on it and whatever, and once it pumps, we'll pull the tent and see what we have after that. I did contact the same company that came out last year and did our floors, because that would be the next step, that they would come out again and sand those down like they did last year, and then repaint, because they think they could take those ripples out in those few spots and make everything level. Basically, we will have to do everything in our power before the insurance company will replace that gym floor.
Mhm.
So this is step one. Sanding it down to try and take the ripples out would be step two. After that, then it would be full floor replacement for that. But we have to go through all of those. So hopefully have one of those work before we get, like I said, into ripping it out, putting in a brand new one.
I'm assuming
Anticipated, go ahead.
You've got a claim opened on that and everything
Yes.
already?
Yeah, in fact, the insurance ender, they were the ones that, after Bud and Kim and Dan and Chris got all the water soaked up, they were the ones that called this Arrow company to come in and do the water restoration and start sucking the water out of there. So they were the ones who got that crew out here that Sunday for that, so, yes.
Anticipated timeline to knowledge of whether the ripples can be whatever out or whatever is end of
Maybe.
August?
Probably, I mean, every day I go in there, I can't believe it's still sucking moisture out of there, but it still is. And it could be another week, it could be 2 weeks, because, yeah, they're just, as long as it's doing it, my understanding is, they're just gonna keep letting it go and hope those, it said those little grooves come out of there.
But the floor refinish.
But even the
company
floor
won't be able to
refinish, when I
be-
talked to the guy, he's gonna send me a quote, but even when I talked to him, I'd asked him what's chances that, you could get it done by the end of August, he goes, 0. He goes, you'll be lucky, we should be able to maybe fit it in end of September. So we're not really in a hurry,
Okay.
Suck us
to
on.
get anything, so, I mean, go ahead and sit there, I mean, but at some point, it's gotta quit at some point, I would think, and you just gotta pull it off and see what you got, and either it's good or you move on.
Okay.
How
the next
long do
step.
you have to stay off of that once they grind it down and do all that?
I
Is
think
it
it was
a
a week,
week?
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that's what it was last year,
Yeah.
I think.
is what it was, and, you know, and if it's just that oxygen, you know, they could probably whip through that one pretty quick. For
And
that.
insurance is covering that pretty well, or is there a liability there? that
No,
would-
insurance is, I mean, to my knowledge as of right now, I mean, they're the ones that are trying to get out with the minimal amount, so, like I said, these are the steps, and
We're fine.
we're trying to do everything before we get the full floor
Right.
replacement. Which I don't even know how much that costs nowadays to do it, but I'm
Hope we
guessing
don't
it's.
have to worry about it.
Correct, yes. I would think that even if this doesn't take them all out, even if it shrunk them down a little bit, even for that company to come in and do it, I would think would fix the issue. From
Is
what
there a
I've done.
space underneath that?
What's that?
Is there a space underneath that for?
I don't know, Eric, I would have to ask Bud.
So
Yeah.
when my hometown did it, there's like X amount of layers in there that some boards go this way and some go this way and some go across the top. So was space. It's not the top layer on concrete. Is that what you're asking, kind of?
Yeah.
Wait and see.
Yeah. So, it's.
Is there anything else in your report you wanted to highlight?
Just, no, I'd sent in there about the bus and the black Suburban for that they'd like to, you know, just total them out, but, I mean, they'll give us X number of dollars total amount, or they'll give us a little bit less, but then we could still replace the windows and use it. So really, right now, what we're doing is seeing what it would cost to replace the windows in both of those units, and if it's cost effective to replace the windows where it's less than the amount we're getting from them, we'll probably do it, because we need those units. If it's more than the amount we're gonna get back, then we're just gonna total them out and be done with it, and figure something else out from
Would you
there.
have a salvage title if you fix it or no?
I'm guessing so, yes.
Can you run a salvage bus?
I'd have to ask, because, I mean, it's the windows, I mean, that's why I don't get, you total it out just for the windows. I
That's a
mean,
good question.
other than that, the bus
I'm
runs
sure.
just fine, the seats are fine, everything else is fine on it, so, yeah, I guess that's a good question.
I would, insurance and or
Right.
licensing, right?
Yeah. How about the bus barn? That
Which-
gets, the tin on the top of that building, that gets screwed back down?
Not yet, it's in the works to get done
Who's doing that?
for that, oh gosh, I'd have to ask Bud who was coming out to do that. Because then we have, you know, the garage doors in, Wimbledon.
Yep.
They're coming out, overhead doors coming out to fix those, replace one and then fix the other one in Wimbledon, but everything's kind of on their time right now.
So everything that you had listed as storm damage, those are all being run through insurance
Yes.
communications right now?
Yes.
Okay.
Is that all the same claim, or is there different
No, one
policies
claim.
on it?
Any other questions? Cause otherwise, Mrs. Brin,
Yep,
are you gonna do your stuff?
I can.
Okay,
Do you want me to pull it up? I mean, I know Lindsay sent it out to everybody.
It did not come through, the slides did not come
Yes.
through that you could read the entire slide,
Okay.
so I would recommend that you pull
Okay,
it up,
then,
please.
yep.
On mine, I don't know if anybody else
It
had
was
that
a little
problem,
bit,
that
yeah.
it like cut
995,
clear.
967. Oh, I missed a number. 995.
967.
Oh, 967. Okay, I missed that. Okay. Okay, why am I getting all of this popping up all of a sudden? It's,
Just turn that on, I don't know why it's.
turn this on?
Yep,
Okay.
and enter your password for your computer.
That's gonna make me do that too. Yep.
That might be since quit and reopen, might be since an update. So then reopen.
Okay. 5967. I have to redo the numbers. Here, I thought I was all ready. Alright. Okay, there we go. Come on. Okay, yeah, there must have been an update somewhere.
Yeah, it's the beauty of.
Gotta love it, right?
Yep.
yes, with the,
Okay, where is
Yeah.
my? Okay, so this is just a year-end data that I share with the teachers and the administrators. And in this one, I do data like this 3 times a year, beginning of the year, middle of the year, end of the year. So at the end of the year, I just compare where they were in August, September to where they were at the end of the year to see that they grew. And so for preschool, and I know it's probably hard to see from where you guys are at, they take the Peli 3 times a year. And that checks alphabetic knowledge, phonological awareness, vocab, oral language, and comprehension. And then it gives us benchmarks or target scores that they want the kids to be at. And so you can just see for comparison, like at the beginning of the year, the average letters known was 9 of 26. And at the end of the year, it was 25 of 26. And for 4 and 5-year-olds, they only need to know 23 to be benchmark. So it just helps show the growth, and especially with us, our school being one of the few with a 5-day-a-week preschool program for 4-year-olds and stuff, it shows, it went from 59% of the class being at benchmark to 94%. And it was 100% growth across the board for preschool. So I didn't put that in there for the end of the year. Again, preschool, their letter names, letter sounds, numbers, shapes, colors, all of that grew too. And stuff, and this one is the same. The Peli doesn't do numbers, shapes, or colors, and that's why we work on those as well. And then letter sounds is not covered in the Peli. We do the alphabetic knowledge twice. In the Peli, It is a mixture of capital and lowercase, where the ESGI, we do all 26 capital and all 26 lowercase is what we test. So that's why we do that one twice. And again, we can see at beginning of the year, average was 7, end of the year, 26. So, I mean, it shows our preschool has really good growth. Okay, there we go. Oh. Kindergarten, they do the STAR early, they do not do the STAR math. The STAR early has about 5 to 7 questions at the end that do cover math concepts, like your ordinal numbers, or sequencing, or just counting. So not a whole lot in there, but some. Their average scale score at the beginning of the year was 730, and at the end of the year was 825. And 100% of the class grew in the STAR early, the letter names. Letter sounds, 65% of the class was proficient in both, and that's uppercase and lowercase. And for the sounds, they have to know both the short vowel sound and the long vowel sound. So, and their class average is above where we expect them to be. So 30 was their class average for the lowercase, and 29 was their class average for the uppercase. So they've grown there too. And then we did, at the beginning of the year, we did do number recognition and quantity comparison in STAR, but we are looking at transitioning to spring math. Not sure how that's going to be tracked yet. So that's why there was no end of year information on that one, because we don't want to keep testing just to test. We want to make sure it's usable data. Okay. Kindergarten, or first grade, excuse me, this one's a little bit harder. They start the year with STAR early, and then they transition to regular STAR. So in STAR early, it is all, well, not all read to them, but it is spoken to them on over 90% of the test, where regular STAR, it is 100% they have to do all the reading. So we usually see a decline when they do that transition. But by the end of the year, their scale score average was still 880, and beginning of the year was 820. So they still had a growth in their scale scores. And 90% of the class grew in their scale scores from the beginning of the year. And then we do sight words as well. Again, sight words and oral reading fluency are not tested with first graders at the beginning of the year. So those we start in the middle of the year, so that's why there's no beginning of the year data to compare to. First grade math, this is their first time taking the STAR math test. But 100% of the class did grow from their beginning of the year scale score, and it went from 821 to 873. And again, we're changing from that STAR CBM to spring math. Second grade reading, excuse me, their average scale score grew from 908 to 983. So, and this information, I mean, I know you said it was hard for you to open up, but I feel bad just reading it to you. This information is what we look at in our elementary PLCs to know, okay, is there a skill? And then we'll break it down even more. In STAR, we can pinpoint certain skills. If we see that a majority of the class is low in this one skill, okay, then that's what we know we need to work on or bring in. And so we also do in our MTSS, we look at trend lines. So we can see if the class is trending the way we want them to versus the opposite. And if they're not, then we do that deeper dive on why they're not trending and where the hang-ups are. And so this is just a really small snapshot of what we look at as our PLC teams. If you want me to keep going through, I mean, slide by slide, I just feel it's a waste of time.
I think it was the white, for me it was the white writing.
Oh,
It was difficult for some reason on my little screen.
Okay.
On my computer, but
okay.
I
Yep.
just got closer.
So,
I'll
okay,
talk more about how they connect
Yep.
to.
right, so the transition to spring math then will be a year-over-year thing? It's
Yes,
just this
spring
transition
math
in the
is an
period.
intervention we started last year,
Okay.
that the MTSS and the Title I team, we hear all the time, especially the upper teachers will say, well, they don't know their math facts, they don't know their math facts, and it's like, well, you know, we've done rocket math, we've done ninja math, we do, and so we're doing this spring math where all grades K through 6 do this intervention for 15 minutes a day. And so where kids practice their math facts.
Okay.
There are screeners within the program, but as we're digging deeper into the program, we're finding that those screeners are testing the kids on what they don't know yet to see what they're ready for. So we're not quite sure how we're going to track that yet and how we're going to use that in this way of data, where we know how we'll use it in spring math, because then obviously that's the skills they need to work on. And it helps us find their proximal zone, their instructional zone, frustrational zone, all those, you know, trigger words and stuff. But we're not quite sure how it's going to look on this side of it yet. So, and then we test pre-K through 11. After we found in the past, and I know some of you were on here then and some of you were not, that seniors, they're done. They've done their ACTs, they know if they're going to college or not, and we were not getting valuable results, let's put it that way. So.
Does anybody have questions for Mrs. Brin? I know that it's been a little while since we've had it in depth, but I just want everybody to understand how this works a little bit.
And this is something too, that I send this report to teachers and administrators too, so if that's something you want forwarded to you, just let Mr. Curry know and he can share it with you. And
You
I
have-
think it's just fun to see the beginning
I-
of the year.
th- this
It's
is
fun
my
to see the
favorite
growth.
one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's fun to see the growth.
I'll be honest, this is my
Yeah.
favorite one, cause
Yeah.
it's like, even though there's days, it's like, really, have you not learned anything?
Yeah, you
And
feel
they
like you've
have,
gone backwards.
they have.
They have, yep, for sure.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Yep. You're welcome.
It is also interesting to watch the beginning of the year and the how close to benchmark, how much did they retain? Because I know that's always a question too.
Yeah.
Also the next year, yep, going, yep.
Anybody have any questions for Mrs. Brin? Thank you very much.
Yes.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Mr. Curry, you're done with your superintendent report? Okay, moving on to the next one, Mr. Locken, secondary principal.
So talking back to school stuff, registration's coming up here. Beginning of August, Mrs. Broden and I will be working with kids if they wanna change their schedules. We have 2 half days that will be available. Already talking PD and back to school night and everything like that. I've been working on the handbook. I'm gonna wait until all these new policies are approved and entered in so that, cause they're all gonna affect the handbook, so otherwise it would be on this month's agenda, but yeah.
I
Lots of fun.
did previously ask that we get more than 5 days to review that, because I would like everybody to gander through that, but when it's 30 pages of writing, 5 days is gonna be pretty,
30 pages times 3.
yeah, times 3, because you'll get the,
And I
you'll
do
get the
highlight
elementary.
everything I changed, but I've
Yeah.
been messing with it officially, like actually changing wording since February, so.
Right, so keep an eye out on your email and try to get after that a little earlier, so you don't have to cram. We're all past that stage
Can
in
you
life,
have
right?
me send them, so that way there's
Yes.
a copy for the board packet,
Mhm.
because I
Yep.
still need to have those.
Yep.
Thank you.
Good, okay. Ms. Bussey?
So in the board report, it had predicted enrollment, kindergarten would actually be at 16, so 136. Aside from that, nothing else has really changed. Just sorting, and then when I'm going to be in office, I shared the elementary schedule. The North Dakota BCI is doing a presentation, and Be Heard Boosters said they would serve salvage or barbecues and chips. So hopefully we can get lots of parents and community members in for some food. And then I was not here last month, so I'm gonna go over just what you had asked me to share at the June meeting. And I didn't have my family vacation in my planner when I agreed to it. So you got a couple months of looking through it, and it's good that Tina just presented a lot of together anyways, but, hopefully just putting it, how it all links, and I can. And so this is, Tina mentioned a lot of this, like why do we assess with STAR? We're looking at a bunch of little things, but it's that monitoring that growth, and STAR helps teachers understand what they should be teaching or what they miss teaching, depending on what students know or don't know. There's been questions out there like, why are you not switching? Because North Dakota has what's called the NAVI assessments now. We haven't switched because our historical data goes back years. So we're seeing the trend lines, and eventually, once they get it figured out, they are literally flying the plane while they're building the program with Pearson. We'll probably do some years in between if it's required for us to eventually adopt that, but just having all of that historical data from years before I was here is invaluable. So we always tend to look at it with this in mind. STAR is a multiple choice assessment, and some kids are really good guessers. So you might see a score go up really high, and then the next time they take that, it'll start above where they scored that time. So you might see it go up high and then low, but typically we look at those trend lines to see overall what direction they're heading in. We also look to see if this assessment, if the STAR test says they're good at this, but the teachers aren't seeing it in the classroom, there's also a disconnect there. Kids, well, there's lots of them that will have testing anxiety, so as a team we meet to see how to meet those needs. We have, small groups. Kindergarten, obviously, you shouldn't put an iPad in front of them and tell them to take a test. You're doing it one-on-one, you're doing it in small groups. And then I said this, ND, NAVI, it's could be our future, but we're holding off to really be able to transition and not lose our data. So Tina mentioned the timeline. As a team, we've kind of tried not doing the beginning of the year assessment because of the summer slide, but teachers didn't like not knowing where their students were as they're new to their classroom. So we do 4 times a year. When I got here, we used to do 5 times a year with quarters, plus do a whole nother assessment. So 2 different assessments, 5 times a year. It was a lot. And all of this data is also used for our Title I reporting, our school-wide. Tina has kind of talked about this with her numbers, but I wanted to break it down with you. So we look at individual student data, we look at class data, we look at school data. As you can see over here, this is like the end of the year reading STAR test. So kindergarten, you can see this is how many students are proficient or above advanced, and I blocked it out. And then I'll go into this a little bit later too. There you have the blue exceeds, you have the benchmark where they're right where we want them to be. Strategic is typically where we do a 30-minute intervention with kids, and then intensive is that core, and then the 30 minutes on top of it. So clicking on this, you'll see kind of our pathway. This is what we use to follow. Our MTSS team talks about this. You guys should have access to it. If on there you can click on it, you can dig into it. I take notes as our team meets about possibilities of different things that we're seeing or questions to ask the people who trained us. So both of them are in here multiple times, like our reading and math or ELA pathway. So just like I said, it tells us the strengths and the gaps of the individual student, each class, and then each grade level. We want to see them growing, even though there might be that spike or their dip depending on where STAR places them. Mrs. Britton talked about in PLCs, it will break down to the skill for students based on how they've tested. This gives us the direction we need to place students in our MTSS supports. And then whether or not, if there's a big group of kids not testing, then I need to go in and look at, is it the teacher instruction, what's going on behind the scenes. So that also will go in more depth.
Does scheduling play in then sometimes too?
A ton,
Okay.
scheduling and resource of people. Most of the time it doesn't work out perfectly when you place them in an intervention because skills of different kids are unique. So, yeah, scheduling. We have structures built into our schedule. I think the teachers would agree. We have the Bison block. So we don't want to pull kids from other subjects that they might enjoy. So we have specific structures built in. You'll see that ELA is in the morning because ELA was our lowest scores. Kids learn best in the morning. I try to schedule specials for students who maybe have higher testing percentages in the morning or space out their specials so they get those breaks in the day. And try not to have our math block at the end of the day because everybody's ready to be done. So we monitor between, we'll put them into tiers, we'll compare. We have had kids retest because we look and it took them 7 minutes to take an assessment and it took everybody else 30. So we look at all of that. Yeah, you're right. Click. So the connection to school-wide title, this is how we come up with our goals on what we want to improve. You heard Mrs. Byrne say, I think math X are always going to be a discussion. I remember that being a discussion when I was in school, but that helps us identify what we want to put in place as our school-wide goal and how we're going to meet it. I mean, it helps us align all our resources. We're not going to pay for spring math if we don't need an intervention in spring math. It helps me decide we should probably have our ELA block in the morning because our ELA scores and we want kids to be focused and bright and full of breakfast food. We have a coach, but a lot of schools have literacy and math coaches and that's how they determine where to send them to coach. Targets and instructional materials and then ensures equity and access. Like us being a school-wide Title I school, we could pull a kid out for a day to work with them on a specific scale, or we could have them in a group. We have that flexibility to meet the needs regardless of where they are in the system. So I really like this visual as a framework. They say if you walk into a school, you should not have more than 5% needing that intensive instruction. About 10 to 15% of your students will need that strategic, and you want 80% or more to succeed with the classroom teacher in their classroom. So the STAR assessment helps us place them. Obviously, if they're in yellow consistently, we're going to look and say they're in yellow, we need to get them back to that green. So how do we do that? And I compared our scores looking at this. So we have 48% of our students in advanced, 37%, 9 and 6%. So if you look at that, we have 6% in that intensive, 9 but 85 in the core. So I did mark at the bottom, 50% of those students are on an IEP.
In the red.
In the red,
Okay.
yes. We've had lots of discussions about whether or not, we use the data to determine services, but we don't, can they handle the 90-minute blocks? So that's where Mrs. Powers comes in with discussion and building that structure for them.
An IEP is established outside of our building or within our building?
No, it's within our building. Yeah, we request, so, through Cheyenne Valley Special Education.
Okay.
Jen, the new director, has come in and has put a process in place, and we referred our student this year, and she said that we have everything going that they would need, but they're requiring a lot of data to even assess a student now.
Okay.
And they want to know that we've done things to try to help them before referring them to that.
Okay, thank you.
So, I did a snapshot of first grade. So first grade, 70%, 20%, 10%, and 0%. So when teachers said, you know, well, why are you splitting up 5th grade into 2 groups but not 1st grade? This is what we look at. Like this is telling us that 90% of the students are getting instruction and retaining it from their teacher, whereas 10% needs that little boost during that half-hour block. So, and then at the bottom, I have that little snip in the middle for every group, so teachers can see every time we test. Right here, the average was 74%. The average was a scaled score of 929. So plus 2% from the last time, plus 38 scaled score points from the last assessment, not from the whole year. And then how many grew. So we have a document, a Google Doc that everybody in the elementary team has access to, and they can see that right away. So 5th grade, it wouldn't look like that. That's why we make those decisions to split up the needs versus the littles and shoving them into a room. So
Do you have a teacher following that class yet then?
do what?
6th grade this year?
There's no teacher. They're all going to be together. 25. So they'll obviously have supports through MTSS and instruct. You know, like our groups from MTSS that I just talked about. I think there's 2 who are assigned to them during ELE block, and then 1 during math. Maybe 2 actually.
Because was there paras listed on your elementary schedule too? Yes, there was, wasn't there?
Paras they have a different one, but Cheyenne Valley's hiring a para, so I didn't know for sure. I did not include that, but. Bridget would be listed and Mrs. Miller for title and intervention services, and then all the paras on the other ones. So, and I know more from Jen. Did they hire that para?
Not yet, no.
Okay. She was interviewing a para, and so I didn't know for sure, but I can send that once it's closer to complete. But
that was PLCs.
Yeah, this is what I look at to
Yep.
determine where to place the supports.
I just remembered seeing names that weren't teacher positions. Okay, that's what it was. Got it.
So hopefully, I mean, our goal is to identify them in preschool, right? And then especially as they transition from that early star to regular star, and then hopefully get them to proficient in 3rd grade, because data says by 3rd grade. And so we want to identify those needs early and address them to get them back into the classroom, which BCN elementary teachers have had lots of success stories with that. We use it to inform our instruction, teacher collaboration, that's that PLC time. They're constantly talking about it, probably almost to a fault. Pull up the data. It's objective, so we can see the trends of students, but if it's going in the wrong direction, we can really dig into why. And then obviously the Title I funding, we pay for the Title I teacher, but if there is anything to support it, that would be where you would say, this is why we want to put money towards this. And it helps. So looking ahead for our team specifically is continue refining those tiered interventions. We've discovered things that have worked and haven't worked, and with training and all of that, they're not perfect. The one that we're talking about are those students on IEPs and whether or not they could handle that comprehensive 90-minute block like our other students. We've had students come from other schools that are low and they test in that tier 3 intervention, but with those 90 minutes a day, they're back in their class by the next year. So really digging in to see what those kids can handle. I mean, always training staff on how to use those PLCs and how to dig into the data. Priority standards tracking. So I don't know if you guys are aware, but we switched to standards-based grading. We did a lot of work on that the first 5 years, and then now we're moving away from PowerSchool and switching to Infinite Campus right after they adopted new standards. So hopefully we, really get time to dig into North North Dakota's new priority standards, but also the LMS platform, or not LMS. What? It's SI, yeah, thank you. That will take the place of Power School, so how that'll look. Hopefully, we really want to track so that, I mean, conferences, you should know if your child is struggling or if they're meeting needs, but that platform will help share it in real time. And then just monitoring the impact, and that's why we wanted to have Tina come in to show you that those students are showing growth. We switched to showing growth from percent, and then at our Title I meeting this last spring, we want to show both percent proficient and how many grew. So hopefully you kind of see like how it all encompasses each other, and thankfully the state has moved towards the same thing, so we're not documenting separately for Title I, and for this, it's all under one thing, which is Cognia and accreditation, which has been helpful,
So with the data, I would anticipate we're not looking at any curriculum changes.
No, we're not. We spent 2 years looking for ELA, and actually we're going to loop back. Once we have it for a few years, they're going to actually evaluate the curriculum with the data in place.
Okay.
There's a cycle that we.
There's a process, and so now we need to kind of like evaluate the curriculum, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
After you've used it.
Yes, yes. So no curriculum changes for elementary, unless, what is in the rotation?
I don't remember what it was this year.
Did we talk about science?
We did
Yeah,
talk about
I
it.
think science is next year.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm just gonna say it was another big one, because we weren't
right.
every other.
So, good question. Yes, I don't like going through that process.
Any questions for Mrs. Bussey on anything that she covered in her elementary principal area?
I got a couple, like you showed a snapshot of first grade.
Yeah,
So how does second grade compare to that? Cause just looking at it, it looked like they were both on the opposite end of the spectrum. Is there a lot of kids that are behind it? Like, how do you?
no, second grade actually isn't at all, so I don't know.
Maybe I misinterpreted your graph.
I have to pull up, so it's hard when I'm blocking out all of the names and the data. Let me pull up the actual, and I can kind of show you guys at a glance so that you can see, but not see their names.
Well, I was just looking at one of your first slides when you brought that up. Maybe I was looking at it wrong.
Oh, the bar graph thingy.
Oh,
It looked
yeah,
like there was
so
a,
second grade had 0. Let me pull this up again. Melissa, will you? Good question. I see now what you're talking about. In this one?
yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so second grade is right here. They have no kids.
Okay,
That
so it
means-
would have been first that I was thinking. So it looked
So
like there
first-
was very few that were in the advanced and quite a few that were in the intensive segment on that.
Are we looking at the black or are we looking at the color?
So the black are the names that I.
Oh, so
So-
first grade is great.
So first grade has a huge chunk.
Okay, so it's
that are-
opposite then.
That are above the,
Oh,
yeah, it's the
thank you for the
opposite, I'm sorry. I have to show you without showing you, if that makes sense. So, yes, here's our 5th grade group. So our 5th grade has 4 students.
Okay,
Which makes the percentage higher because we have small numbers all around. Overall, like when I go to principal meetings and I show this, like they always try to get us to do the math training, and then I bring up our math one like this and they go, oh, maybe you don't need it. Yeah, I said, yeah, let us just focus on something else, but no, it's the opposite. So
Okay.
we have 0 in intense intervention in those 3 grade levels, which means our preschool, our early intervention is doing its job.
It's how to
So
keep it
like with-
retaining.
with
Yes.
first grade, with that many in the advanced, do you do anything different to keep
Yes.
progressing those
So
forward?
in Bison block, which we call it, it's that half-hour block where kids get what they need. They should be doing, like they do the reading groups. Tell me, why can't I think of what it's called? Reading groups. So they do like. They're like, oh, Mrs. Bussey's talking again. Sorry.
I would say you've heard it.
So depending on, so they're giving them, maybe a science text that they're reading above their grade level. Mrs. Almond does Genius Hour, so they're digging into, everybody has a little bit different opinion of what it means to challenge these advanced kids. And so, as a school, we've kind of said this is our scope. We've done STEM with kids in that group. We've done, help me out, what else have we done?
I think the important thing, though, I have to say this, is that you're not giving them more of the same work.
Yes,
You're giving them different work.
yeah.
So, because, I'm sorry, I'm not going to complete my regular work if you're just gonna give me the same thing.
And then
And so
also,
that's, I think that's the difference.
we switched
that's
to
what's happening.
3+ instead of 4 on the report cards, because let's say, I'm gonna use your kid.
Use my
Just
kid.
'cause- Let's say Thomas is above, right, he's here, but I want to see if he knows a 6th grade skill. Mrs. Almond can, give him some 6th grade skills, but she's not going to assess it consistently. So she could put on the report card a 3+, because I've checked it, I've seen that I could do this, but I'm not assessing it. Some think that this is just saying, oh, here's some 6th grade work in the same skill. But some say, no, a 4 is how you apply it to real world. That's the big thing. So there's many things, and we're kind of, when I talk about Jamestown has a gifted and talented program, we are doing way more than Jamestown's gifted and talented program. So, and I've talked to the Jamestown person, they've had the same text that they use in their gifted and talented program for the last 20 years, and I don't see how you can get by using the same text. They go once a month to a different building for gifted. So here, teachers have the opportunity every day to give them something to work on and continue their growth. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I'm very glad you asked that question, because I was totally backwards on the colors as well, so,
Okay.
thank you.
Yeah, so this is only one student would be at that intensive.
Got it.
So that's how we're saying, okay, so typically in kindergarten, we don't want to shove them in a 90-minute intervention when it's probably, could be remedied quicker. And like I said, that's what shows us is that we're helping those students earlier with preschool and interventions.
And that was the whole idea behind getting our preschool in here in the 5 days.
Yes.
Because that's where you have to eliminate that
And it's cheaper to eliminate it there, we hope.
before they get.
Yes. Good question there. Sorry, that was confusing. It's hard to.
Good. Any final questions, discussion? Ms. Bitts, I have you on next for technology.
Yep, not a whole lot, just, got new hardware today, so iPads and laptops ordered earlier not earlier this spring, later this spring arrived, so those will get set up. Just a lot of, I wiped a bunch of iPads, and you probably saw a form if you're on our parent listserv today come out that we're selling some devices, we're doing a lottery type system. So it's just a lot of summer work of getting devices ready and rolling over things and rostering softwares for next year and getting renewals done and all of that sort of thing. I did include in my update that I was going to reach out to Sarah about the siren update in the radios. Right now, she said, hey Melissa, I really don't have a siren update. We are still waiting for a tower in Valley City to be built. We have made some progress on that and are hoping to get that done this build season yet, and still waiting on our +1 towers like Kinsale and Jamestown to be operational for coverage. So pretty much waiting on everyone else around us. Still working through the pre-work for the responders, and when those towers are built and operational, we will be ready to go. So they don't wanna, she just goes on to say they don't wanna partially transition, so that's kinda where they're at. So I just keep in a regular contact with her. I mean, they're working great in-house, but I do want to update you when that step goes further.
Any questions for Ms. Bitts? Athletic Director, Mr. Curry, do you know anything of Mr. Schaefer's stuff, or just read what's in the packet?
What's in the packet.
Pretty straightforward.
Does anybody have questions that we just need to address that we can push back to him for questions?
I had
There
a
was-
couple.
Was there a position offered for a head girls basketball?
No,
No.
There wasn't one offered,
no,
okay, I was
I know
assuming
there was a
was.
parent meeting last night. I
For
believe, maybe.
volleyball.
On volleyball.
yeah.
Any feedback of what was
Mr.
discussed?
Schaefer was gone today, so I didn't talk to him today. So, I don't,
Parent conversation was just making sure they knew everything that we kinda had already heard, I think, or was in the report. I don't think there was anything, I haven't heard anything through the grapevine.
yeah,
Anybody else hear
If
anything?
there's no coach, they're going to file for an emergency co-op.
Which, the general consensus is nobody.
I didn't think
wants
you
it.
could.
Is that an option?
yeah,
It is?
you can.
So you can
yeah.
have like a coaching hardship or what?
Well, it would almost be like the exact same thing we did with football. Well, it wouldn't be almost, it would be exactly like we did with football.
And the co-op would be with,
I'm assuming Valley City, Valley City, Jamestown, you can
That's-
emergency co-op with anybody.
I wish Schaefer was
Yeah.
here because I had two questions, how the meeting went last night and why there's been no info sent to the extracurricular committee all summer long. 'Cause I've heard there's been coaching hires, there's interviews, I've been here for 3 years and we've always been notified on scheduling interviews or
Yeah.
where everything is at, and we haven't heard nothing
Yeah,
since
I
May.
was-
City,
And I've been
Kinda
hearing
under the
stuff from
assumption that
people
there
in the
was
community
Yeah.
over our
an
athletic
offer that
director.
went out.
So I guess that's a question.
yeah,
Yeah,
So we have
Yeah.
why is there no
questions that will go back.
communication going
Yeah.
on?
Do you have Mr. Schaefer's email?
Yep.
To be able to send those questions to him, or are you asking somebody else here tonight to send those
I
questions?
would like him to get the info out, yeah, I can email it, but it'd be nice to
Just
see that
making sure we know
information,
who's
yeah.
going to send those questions to Mr. Schaefer.
I don't care, I can too.
yeah, it doesn't matter, I can kick it out to him too.
So I'm hearing Cody's going to be sending
Okay.
those questions to
Yeah,
Mr.
I mean,
Schaefer.
I will be talking to him soon, anyway, because I'm curious on that meeting as well.
Yeah,
Cody, will you please send that email?
Yep.
Thank you. If you would like to CC the extracurricular committee on that after we finish this conversation.
Yep.
About 5 agenda items down.
Yep.
That'd be great.
Okay.
Okay. So as far as I know, nothing else for athletic directors, so we'll go into board committee reports. There was none listed, but the only committee I'm aware of that has met since the June school board meeting is the policy committee.
That one right before the meeting today. but
Yeah, and the
no
policy
minutes
committee
done on it, yep.
went through, we should talk a little bit in the committee report. The only policy we looked at in the committee report, or policy committee, was the personal electronic communications device. Michelle, would you like to share anything from that conversation?
Basically, we're taking, Mr. Curry has taken what we received from School Boards Association, and we've tweaked it for us, just very minimal things like adding our name at the top. And then a couple spots where we didn't, like, there was a spot where they had approval of using the device, like on field trips and things, and it had bus driver listed to be able to dictate, and we're like, no, we're gonna take bus driver out of it. So little tweaks like that, and we believe that, or I feel the committee believes, that what we have set up for now will get us started this school year, because it's going to be a whole new thing that we have no idea how it's going to pan out. So we feel pretty confident in getting started with the year with this policy.
One significant difference between the School Board Association one and the one we are proposing is that infractions and disciplinary things will not be in the policy, but will be managed within the different staff handbook. The staff handbook, because there are staff implications, the elementary handbook tailored to elementary age students, and the high school. So there will be some differences between those infractions and disciplinary actions, but for the most part, I think administration, as they work those out, was saying that they're gonna try to be fairly consistent on first offense and the level of severity, second offense, and so forth like that. So
And
you will have all those in the handbook, so I would highly
And
recommend.
that's why you mentioned getting the handbooks slightly
that
earlier,
is,
because
yeah.
that's gonna be a big piece.
It's
And
gonna
I
be a big
added it
piece.
already, so
Yep.
it'll be.
So when we get those, that will be very important. That policy is not gonna include that suggested tonight because that's gonna be
Because we don't.
managed that way.
Yep.
Trying to keep procedure out of policy.
Yep.
Yes. The other thing was, I think that covered it.
No, that was it. Yeah. From my notes.
Any questions of the committee on the conversation related to the electronic device policy? Because that's the only thing we covered. Okay, committee reports, nothing else that you're aware of, Mr. Curry, that
Nope.
covered? Okay. Moving on, there's no unfinished business on our agenda, so we'll move into new business. Item A is set date, time, and place of regular meetings. Lindsay provided in the board packet a schedule of the 12 months of meetings. Is there any, motion first for the schedule of meetings? Do I have a motion for the schedule of meetings?
Make the motion.
Cody has the motion, is there a second?
I'll second.
Is there any discussion on that schedule? You have the opportunity to double check anything. Any discussion or concerns? Any discussion or
About the
concerns?
time that we meet.
It was dictated at 7 for all of them.
Except
Is there any questions?
Except for the canvassing is
Except
before the regular
6:30
meeting,
before 7.
and the budget hearing is before the regular meeting.
Right. Are you asking for a modification?
I don't know. Could we go later during the summer, or is it too late? I mean, if we met at 8 instead of 7.
So you're talking for the June meeting?
Yeah, like
So the
June
one-
and July.
The June and July meeting?
I don't know,
July is not on this schedule
Right,
because.
July would
it
be on the
just
next
be
year's
June
one.
for this year.
The question I have on that is, so when we finish a meeting and we talk about German next boarding meeting, can we modify that the month prior?
Yes, you can.
So we could
We can
in
take
May
it as long as you-
potentially modify June,
Or even in May, I mean,
or April, depending on what we anticipate the agenda to be or anything like that? Is that an option? I don't know what the rules are there, so.
Yeah, I mean, you can modify your time or your date of your board meeting, I mean, within a reasonable time of the
It would need to
meeting.
go before
But
the
if that's
required
something that, I mean,
posting.
is it
Yeah.
something we're all thinking is a good idea? Because if it is, why not just change it now and get it on the schedule? Would be my thing.
You would need,
I don't know,
I would
7
need a
o'clock
motion
seems
for
pretty
a
late in the
modification
winter,
of
but
it.
it seems pretty early in the summer, you know?
I just hate how it's on the last day of school and
Yeah.
the second day.
Well, if we wanna get into things, April 15th is a scheduled one.
Okay.
I hear you, but what I need you to do then is if you want to make a motion to modify that,
I was just bringing it up.
okay?
Okay.
We'll keep it as a note.
Keep it as-
Any other discussion on date, time, and place of meetings? I'm just making a note, sorry.
Do we have, and this may be the wrong time to ask it, but do we have any way of calling in, or do we have a policy on calling in if you can't attend?
We don't have a policy on it. I guess in the past, I've kind of left it up with communication with the board president, I guess, in that sense, but there is no per se policy on it, no. I guess, I mean, if you're asking for my own personal feeling, Eric, I mean, I have my own personal, I wouldn't wanna make something like that standard practice. I guess is my own personal feeling on it for that, but that doesn't mean that that's the way it has to be either.
We've done a special board meeting by Zoom before.
But we only
But I
have
know
a
what-
limited version of Zoom, so I doubt
Right,
we
it
could
would,
accomplish a
it
full
would be
board
a
meeting on it.
short time
Well,
period one.
And it might be specific to the meeting and what's on the agenda,
Yeah.
but there's just certain times when you know you're not gonna make a meeting, and it's maybe not a big deal, or maybe there's something there. And if it was super important, it'd be nice to know ahead of time
Yeah,
if you need to change everything to make sure you're at that meeting, or if calling in is an option.
Okay, I did write a note. Any further discussion on set date, time, and place of regular meetings? Seeing none, voice vote, Lindsay?
Cindy,
Yes.
Eric,
Yes.
DJ,
Yes.
Michelle,
Yes.
Jennifer,
Yes.
Cody.
Yes.
Next item is board member committees and appointments. We'll do these individually.
Yep.
First on the schedule is the Cheyenne Valley Career and Tech Center. We need to appoint an individual from our board to be our representative at Cheyenne Valley. Do I have any is it nominations or is it appointments?
Well, either or, who's willing
If
to do it, I guess
If
the
I say
question
for someone else,
is.
I'm nominating, or if I say I'm.
Do I have a
willing.
volunteer
yeah.
for the Cheyenne Valley Career and Tech Center? I see a
DJ.
hand raised from DJ Morris.
Nice,
I would
DJ.
be willing to do it.
awesome.
Is there anybody else, just for sake of the body? I don't see anyone. I think that therefore means that we have appointed DJ Morris as the appointment to the Cheyenne Valley Career and Tech Center Board. Thank you, DJ.
Thank you.
We need a motion to approve.
Oh, sorry. I thought it was an appointment. I need a motion to appoint DJ Morris.
I'll
I'll make a motion to appoint DJ.
I will second.
Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Voice vote?
Cindy,
Yes.
Cody,
Yes.
Eric,
Yes.
Jennifer,
Yes.
Michelle,
Yes.
DJ.
Yes.
Just so you know, Mike told me today the meeting is tomorrow at 5. It is optional because Mike will still be at this one, but I think August is the official start time for you, I think.
Could have told you tomorrow. so.
Perfect, yeah.
Awesome. That was great.
Only way it could be better if it was at 7 tomorrow morning.
The next one on our schedule is Cheyenne Valley Special Ed Unit.
Mr. Curry, isn't that,
Yep, Mr.
Yep.
Curry.
do we have to vote on that too?
Yes.
Yes, you have
I make
to,
so
same
do I
thing.
make a motion?
Yes.
Make a motion to have Mr. Curry be our rep for the Cheyenne Valley Special Ed Unit.
For a
I'll s-
second?
I'll second that.
Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Voice vote, Lindsay?
Eric,
Yes.
Cindy,
Yes.
Cody,
Yes.
Jennifer,
Yes.
DJ,
Yes.
Michelle.
Yes.
And the last one here is the BCN Foundation, and am I correct, there's 2 board members?
Ladies, is that
Yes,
what we
so-
decided? Yep,
Yep, when we met in, was that last month?
yeah, before the board
Met,
meeting, yep.
we met in June, and Lee and Mike were on it. They're going off as board members, obviously. Cindy and I were also on it, so we had 4 board members and Mr. Curry. So now that we've kind of downsized and everything, we discussed that we're gonna have 2 board members. Cindy and I are willing to continue, just because we're making some big changes, so we're willing to continue. And then we also discussed that we're gonna have
4 community members.
I thought it was 3.
Yeah.
4 community members, and Lee and Mike said they'd be willing to stay and help us this first year. And then we're reaching out to 2 other community members and Mr. Curry.
And basically, it's whoever's acting superintendent.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
So.
So I'm
that's
looking
where
for
we're at.
a motion for the board representatives to the BCN Foundation.
I'll make that motion.
Or Michelle.
Gotta say it.
Michelle, Cindy, to be on that. And then
BCN Foundation.
BCN Foundation.
Second? Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Eric has the second. Any discussion? Any discussion? The only thing I wanna say is, we never put the BCN Foundation on our actual agenda, but the invitation is always open for reports, right? Is that how we do that?
Yeah,
I
we
don't
just,
know.
well, I think it could always come through a request if somebody wants to know what's happening within the foundation, and hopefully the
Because
idea,
we don't meet,
hopefully the idea is,
Forward minutes or something like that?
right, to make it more active than it
that's
has
the
been.
whole idea of what
Yes.
we're doing now.
Perfect. No other discussion? Lindsay?
Jennifer,
Yes.
DJ,
Yes.
Eric,
Yes.
Cindy,
Yes.
Cody,
Yes.
Michelle.
Yes.
Item C in new business is to set the school board
Nope,
compensation.
nope,
You
nope,
gotta
nope.
do the
Committees.
actual
Committees.
committees.
Oh, sorry, I went
Yeah.
past that. My apologies. The committees, there was a suggested lineup of committees that came out. motion and a second first for the committees?
For the 5 committees,
Yes,
I believe
correct.
for those to be our 5 committees?
Yep.
The
Proposed to be
recommendation-
the 5 committees, yes.
The recommendation was to go from 6 committees to 5 committees with combining curriculum and
Personnel.
personnel.
My question is, are we gonna need, do we want, we're probably need to have 3 on every committee, correct?
It is not a requirement, it has been the standard rule, as far as I know.
Personnel and curriculum, one has a question mark.
Yeah, that's fine.
Right, that's what I'm
Question
saying.
mark,
So
I
do
guess,
we- do we
so
need it?
my question mark on there is, does anybody wanna be on another committee? Is basically my question mark, which would then make somebody,
Sorry.
have to be on 3 committees for that.
I did volunteer that if we feel strongly that there needs to be 3 on everyone, I would take the 3rd one, but
Well, before we get to that, you
Yeah.
better find out how many committees we're gonna have.
I think what's on here looks good to me. Like,
It's
Is
right
there-
now, that way it stands as 5.
So I
Right,
did
yeah.
verify with Mr. Curry today that he had no communications from anybody on suggestions related to this. anybody-
Will we have committee chairs going forward?
That's the idea, yes. That will be proposed, yeah. That,
As
because
part of
if you
this?
look at each committee has at least 1 returning member on there from the prior year, which, talking about committee chairs, probably one of those people with some experience on that committee and background knowledge of it
Yep.
would be the committee chair.
okay,
So they would be the point of contact.
It's not looked at, in our conversation,
Right.
the committee chair was not looked at in this situation to be a authority figure for the chair by any means, holds no more weight than anybody else on the committee, but would be a point of, if an external individual wants to talk to a committee, this would be the name they would see first, as well as this person would be responsible to make sure that minutes are accurately kept for that committee report, because not always do we have wonderful Lindsay to take the minutes always, so that person would be responsible to either take them or have somebody else take them, and also to just be the first point of contact. But it by no means, in my opinion, and you can weigh in on this, would be any more authority than anybody else there.
No, that was exactly what I was thinking, because I've been thinking in my head this whole time, budget and policy are the most important things that we do. And if you're not on either of those committees, and
You're in the
those
dark.
committees aren't giving good minutes, you're in the dark on a lot of stuff. And if there isn't a committee chair to go at, that they're not doing a good job giving the minutes, because previously it's just been, well, what would you like to say, what would you like to say, and no one's being held accountable to actually give good minutes of what's being discussed, because when we get to budget going forward, that might be a committee, but that committee discussion's probably gonna take 10, 15, 20 minutes of every board meeting.
Yeah, and that's part of the discussion too, is when we get to the committees part on the agenda is, sometimes a lot of that stuff ends up on the agenda in new business, and so we kind of gloss over it. The idea is not to gloss over it, but still go through the conversations that were had during the committee, even though maybe later in the agenda, you're gonna take action on part of what was discussed in that meeting, but you're gonna hear the full conversation of that committee meeting.
I would, I would like to back up on that. You will not hear the full conversation. You will have minutes, you will be expected to review them. If you have questions ahead of time, I would invite conversation to that committee chair. The relevant things, yes, absolutely, and you will have a chance to discuss in public meeting, but
but the point of committees is to have all that work done, so our meetings aren't 8 hours long.
Right.
That's the point of having committees, so that we're not sitting here for 3-4 hours.
But the
Going
committees
through.
should do all the work, but that doesn't mean the board can't
Correct.
still have all the discussion.
there will still be
Oh,
questions and there will still be
absolutely.
discussion.
But the nitty gritty gets done outside.
But that's where it helps if you have that point of contact or that chair, we'll call it a chairperson with the minutes,
Yep.
that's where it help if, quality minutes, and then people read the minutes, that will then bring the discussion at the board meeting for a lot of that stuff, yes.
And I would second that thought, that So Eric and I did talk about this a little bit, so that it's not on your drive home that you come up with all the questions that you should have asked.
Right, yeah.
So that, yeah, I mean, yeah, you can
But-
come prepared
Okay,
to.
so take that, and not to extend this conversation, but take that, DJ, so you do that, so you leave the meeting, you have that question. There's your chairperson that you go to as the point of contact and say, hey, here's another question, answer this one for me,
Right.
Yep.
type of a
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
They're the
I like
point of
that.
contact, yes.
Yep.
But,
And the-
yeah, you're right.
The last thing I've considered in this conversation is we have the right as a committee to call a meeting. It does not need to be stipulated by the administration when the committee meets. It does not need to be stipulated by the athletic director when a committee meets. So if you have something that you need to, the committee chair, quote unquote, should be reaching out to the proper administration person to consider, can we have a meeting? Or is this a topic that rises to the level of a meeting? Because we've been sitting back too long, waiting for admin to do that for us, and it is our
Sure.
responsibility,
Yep.
So this is where that committee chair is coming into play, this is the proper person to reach out to that individual, not 3 members of the committee, in my opinion, but
Yep.
I'm
That
open to
makes
your
sense.
So
consideration.
I like
Yeah.
that.
Okay,
So kind of going back, yes, very good, but
Okay.
kind of going back, is there someone willing to be the third person on personnel and curriculum?
I would like to
Jennifer says.
nominate Jennifer to do that.
plug my name in the section where it went.
Being on the budget and finance, that would maybe be a good person to also have on personnel.
Fine with that. I did curriculum way back when I was there. So is there anything else that you see needs to be modified from the committee suggested listing? Lindsay, do I need to pass these each individually, or can we approve the
All as
committee?
a group, just make sure that you say with the change to the personnel committee.
Okay.
Whoever.
Do you need a
Do we
motion?
need to stipulate the chair, or we're gonna do that?
That
I
be
would
the
say
committee.
each committee, when they meet,
Yeah,
probably that
they pick,
first time, or
Yeah.
whoever should set that chair.
yes.
And please then let Lindsay know
Yes.
what that chair is defined as, okay?
So now we need a motion.
So I need a motion to approve the committee listing.
I will make a motion to approve the committee listing, adding Jennifer Bolenberg onto the personnel and curriculum committee.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion on anything here? I know we kinda did it backwards, but. Any further discussion? Lindsay?
DJ,
Yes.
Cody,
Yes.
Cindy,
Yes.
Jennifer,
Yes?
Eric,
Yes.
Michelle.
Yes.
Item C, set school board compensation.
I think we continue as we have.
Make the motion then.
I will make a motion that the school board members do not take compensation.
I second that.
Any
Was
discussion
that
on this
Cody that
topic?
got the second?
Yes.
Yep.
Sorry, it was Cody, yes. Any discussion on this topic? This is stipulated as, if you haven't known, it is no compensation for committee meeting or for board meetings.
Correct.
If you are attending a school board function, that is reimbursable, correct?
Mileage
Fees.
Mileage.
Mileage is reimbursable, fees are paid by school for the registration,
and your meals.
And
if you
meals.
plan
Yep.
them.
if you claim them. Okay, any further discussion? I don't know how many times I said I gotta make tick marks.
Do one more.
Lindsay, discussion. Lindsay?
Cindy,
Yes.
Jennifer,
Yes.
Michelle,
Yes.
Eric,
Yes.
Cody,
Yes.
DJ.
Yes.
Item D, we are asking to approve the business manager. Do I have a motion to approve a business manager?
I make a motion to approve Lindsay as our business manager.
I will second.
Any discussion? Lindsay, you get to ask for the vote.
Guess I get to come to work tomorrow.
Eric?
Yes.
DJ,
Yes.
Jennifer,
Yes.
Michelle.
Yes.
Cindy,
Yes.
Cody.
Yes.
Item E is authorization of investments. I don't know if I need to read all that out.
Whoever's making the motion probably should read that one.
I'll make a motion to authorize Lindsay Polk and Andrew Curry to make investments and move funds on behalf of the school district.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Cody has the second. Any discussion on this? Discussion? Lindsay?
Cindy,
Yes.
Cody,
Yes.
Eric,
Yes.
DJ,
Yes.
Jennifer,
Yes.
Michelle.
Yes.
Item F is administrative work related to the check authorization. And I think you have to be specific on what you list
So
if you make the
general
motion.
fund, activity fund, food service fund, building fund for myself, Mr. Curry, and Jennifer as the board president.
We're looking for a motion related to check authorization.
I will make a motion for the check authorization for general fund, activity, extracurricular, food, service funds, building fund, to have Lindsay Polk, business manager, Andrew Curry, superintendent, and board president, Jennifer Olenberg.
Is there a second? to that?
Second.
DJ has the second. Any further discussion? Discussion? Lindsay?
DJ,
Yes.
Eric,
Yes.
Michelle,
Yes.
Cindy,
Yes.
Cody,
Yes.
Jennifer.
Yes. Item G is travel reimbursement rates. Currently, we are reimbursed at the state per diem rate, which you have listed in front of you.
No mileage isn't listed on that because it's a state rate, which is currently 70 cents, but it changes halfway throughout the year. So
Right.
that's why we just.
Calendar
did
year
state.
choice, yeah.
Yep, and I guess in Lindsay and I's conversation, we didn't see the need to
Change it.
increase any of those amounts, so I guess the recommendation would be to keep them as they are.
Do I have a motion in relation to travel reimbursement rates?
I'll make a motion that the reimbursed mileage at the state per diem rate, staff meals, breakfast 10, lunch 15, dinner 25, student meals, breakfast 8, lunch 10, and dinner 15.
I will second.
Michelle has the second. Discussion? Discussion? These are standard pretty much across the state.
As far as these meal
The
rates,
rates.
yes.
Okay, that's just wanted to verify. Any further discussion? Lindsay?
Eric,
Yes.
Jennifer,
Yes?
Cindy,
Yes.
Michelle,
Yes.
DJ,
Yes.
Cody.
Yes.
Item H is the district newspaper. Any recommendation there?
It's been the Times Record.
I'll make a motion to make district newspaper continue to be the Times Record.
I have a motion.
I'll second that.
Eric has the second. Any discussion? Discussion? Discussion. Lindsay?
DJ,
Yes.
Eric,
Yes.
Cindy,
Yes.
Cody,
Yes.
Jennifer,
Yes?
Michelle.
Yes.
Item I is to consider designating Andrew Curry and Lindsay Polk as the authorized representatives for Title I, II, IV, and V, and the school food service. Is there a motion upon the recommendation?
I'll move to designate Andrew Curry and Lindsay Polk as authorized representatives for Title I, II, IV, and V, and school food service.
I'll second.
Cody has a second. Just making sure they don't have that amended.
No, he's just thought it was on there twice, and I was like, nope, it's for check authorization is the first one.
Okay,
Who was the second? I'm sorry.
Cody.
All right, Michelle.
I don't
You
think I
ready
did
for me?
discussion.
Sorry.
No, I was double checking to make sure you guys are good. Discussion, discussion, discussion. Now you're ready.
Michelle.
Yes.
Cindy,
Yes.
Eric,
Yes.
Cody,
Yes.
DJ,
Yes.
Jennifer.
Yes. Item J is to consider appointing Mrs. Bussey as the foster care liaison. Any motion on the foster care liaison?
I'll make a motion to appoint Mrs. Bussey as foster care liaison.
Second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? Discussion? This is a reappointment, correct? This was
Yes.
Mrs. Bussey last year?
And
Okay.
the reason why the next one changed is because we were both at the same trainings and we didn't think it was a good use of both of our
It
time.
doubles up,
It doubles
so.
up so
Okay.
much that.
Better than having this both out.
Okay, so discussion on that, on the foster care liaison? Lindsay?
Cindy,
Yes.
Cody,
Yes.
DJ,
Yes.
Jennifer,
Yes?
Eric,
Yes.
Michelle.
Yes.
Item K is to consider appointing Mrs. Bussey as homeless education designee. Is there a motion for the homeless education designee?
Make a motion to appoint Mrs. Bussey as the homeless education designee.
I'll second.
Michelle has the second. Any discussion? Is this a new position or still?
He had it last year and we're required to do so much training, so we both went to Bismarck on the same day.
Same
Got the same training, but I do it all through Title II
Okay.
anyways. So he's going to take on Cognia surveys
Got it,
every year, and then I'm gonna do these.
got it. Okay, just making sure that I don't remember it, so.
Yeah.
Any final discussion? Lindsay?
Jennifer,
Yes?
Michelle,
Yes.
Cody,
Yes.
Cindy,
Yes.
DJ,
Yes.
Eric.
Yes.
Item L is to consider the Title IX director to be Mr. Curry. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to appoint Mr. Curry as Title IX Director.
Second.
By DJ?
Any discussion on the Title IX director? Discussion? Lindsay?
DJ,
Yes.
Michelle,
Yes.
Cindy,
Yes.
Cody,
Yes.
Jennifer,
Yes?
Eric.
Yes.
Item M, consider approval of principals as the authorized representatives for the school immunization law, Century Code 23-07-17.1. Is there a motion?
I'll move to approve the principals as the authorized representatives for the school immunization law, Century Code 23-07-17.1.
There's a motion on the table.
I'll second it.
Eric has the second. Any discussion on this? Discussion? Lindsay?
Cody,
Yes.
DJ,
Yes.
Eric,
Yes.
Michelle,
Yes.
Cindy,
Yes.
Jennifer.
Yes. Item N is related to the 504 coordinator. It is suggested that Sarah Anderson be appointed to that position. Any motion?
I'll make a motion to appoint Sarah Anderson as the 504 coordinator.
I'll second.
Michelle? Any discussion on the 504 coordinator? Discussion? Ms. Lindsay?
DJ,
Yes.
Cody,
Yes.
Jennifer,
Yes?
Michelle,
Yes.
Eric,
Yes.
Cindy.
Yes.
Item O, and you should have
Should have this in your
in,
packet. It should have been 24, 25 BCN meal prices. For that, after Lindsay and I's conversation about it, I guess, our recommendation is to increase the breakfast amounts by a quarter. So, like, student would go to 175, and then adult guest, student guest would go to 225. Leave lunch where it's at, and then, because Lindsay,
and if you don't have it in front of you, lunch was $3 for a student, $5 for an adult guest, $3 for a student guest, just so those that don't have it up.
yeah.
Okay.
And then extra milk, when we started the year last year, 50 cents was enough to cover the extra milk. When we ended the year, it was not enough to cover the extra milk. So we're actually losing a little bit of money on the extra milk. So I guess our recommendation is to bump that up 10 cents to go from 50 to 60 cents for an extra milk.
We have a motion to set breakfast and lunch prices. And you will need to stipulate each of them, I
Or
believe,
just say as presented is probably.
as recommended. Okay.
I'll make a motion to set breakfast and hot lunch prices as recommended.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Is there any discussion on this topic? Discussion on lunch prices.
So the milk is 60 cents basically for one milk.
53.
It's 52, 53, depending on how many we get delivered, because the delivery fee changes based on the quantity delivered. You know, it doesn't change for the quantity delivered.
And that $3 for the hot lunch is including one milk with it.
Correct, yes.
So they're getting $2.40 per student to feed them,
Plus
basically.
some state rate that we don't know yet, because the feds haven't approved it. Which also makes it kind of hard to set lunch prices.
Can I?
can.
Okay.
That's your decision. Yes.
Do you have a comment or question on breakfast and lunch prices?
I missed the breakfast. Are we
What
changing
price?
it, or can you just clarify
Plus
that again?
increase.
175.
175
thank you.
for students and
And then-
225 for adults and guests.
Thank you.
And what were you saying again?
Nothing, she had just clarified that the state rate isn't established yet.
Well, the
Right.
feds haven't released
Right.
reimbursement amounts,
Oh, I
so,
thought you were saying something.
No, I was clarifying what I could and cannot do.
Okay.
Thank you for your question. Any other discussion on breakfast and lunch? Final call for discussion?
Do we know what our cost is?
We will go through that process in budget and finance in more specifics.
looking at what Mr. Curry and I talked about today for next year, about 334, 330 something-ish per lunch, but that's per meal, which it's hard to figure out how our food service is because was $1.50 and our breakfast was $1.50 and
Mhm.
lunch is $3 and the number of meals served isn't quite equal, not even close to equal, so, yeah.
And there'll be a consideration on with labor, without labor,
Mhm.
that kind of stuff.
And if you look at it with labor, it's over $6. So, because labor's paid for out of the general fund.
So our expected cost per lunch is $3.35.
Approximately. That's rough based on what we discussed today. But we're gonna have to do a budget and finance meeting soon and we'll look at all of those things.
If we need to amend, we could amend by the August meeting, the day before school starts.
The only
You,
issue is gonna
you
be
can, the problem is,
registration.
this goes out to the parents, the guardians, and registration, these prices,
Mhm.
so, I mean, yeah, if it goes down, nobody's gonna complain.
Right,
If it goes up, they might complain.
but we still have
For that?
concerns from federal through state funding for these things
Yeah, we
too,
don't
right?
know.
We don't know, and the reason we increased the adult price or the guest price or whatever, what we did, is because this last year's rate had to be 39 cents more than the highest paid student rate. But 50 cents gives us some wiggle room in case they make that 47 cents or something weird, so, I don't know. I mean, we're guessing at this point, because we don't know. There's a big asterisk on their website that says we don't have any information from the US Department of.
And I don't wanna get in the weeds too much, but how'd you get to that $3.35?
I took the total expenses and divided it by total meals served for breakfast and lunch.
But we offer staff free lunch, right?
That's a whole other thing, yes, and that's why we can pay the general fund, salary expenses that we pay in the general fund in exchange for those free meals, basically, otherwise we would just do transfers back and forth, it would be pointless, and during our last review, I believe Mr. Severson had filed that statement with them to have that allowability.
What's enrollment per student or students gonna be? Like, what would be our normal students served per day?
Students,
I don't know, I only look at it as a month
Yeah.
total, so.
I mean, you look at
What's our
students,
total
you'd be
enrollment?
around 220 students plus another,
And then you've got
30.
the free rate, the reduced rate,
right,
the state free rate, the state reduced
The
rate, those
Medicaid
all get
rates.
paid different rates from the state. The paid people get paid a different rate from the state. Lunch is a different rate than breakfast for all of those different categories, so. It's not.
I
an
think what
exact
I'm hearing is we'd like, when that information is out a little better, if we could get just a schedule of cost and charges. Is that what I'm hearing?
yeah.
Well, I was just
Well,
It's-
budget and finance will, but that's what we'll
And
look to
it might
make
not
sure.
be out by the time school starts. We
Right.
have
It
no
might,
idea.
because
we
we're
can't
sitting
do
in the
anything
same
about it.
spot with our federal funding for title, which you'll hear later,
Right.
that we don't, the funding's not out for it, except for in one area.
So
We're
spend
still
at
in
your own
limbo
risk
on the
is
others.
Basically what they're telling you.
Yeah.
So we'll get that information to the board members when it's available, but right now, we're kind of flying blind.
And we're just, when we set the price, we're just trying to cover that $3.35 or whatever.
And I will say, last year we charged $3 for lunch, and our ending balance in the food service account last year on June 30th compared to this year on June 30th was within like $1,000 of each other. So being at $3, we weren't like super in the hole, like we ended up about where we were.
Yeah,
that
so
was
if
kind of
your
our
question is, we're
rationale.
not trying to bank money.
No, no,
But we wanna at least
but-
try to break
But,
even,
but,
yeah.
and so.
Absorb it a
So
little
the, our per meal price, that's what
And-
we're trying
And
to,
we've also had the conversation about how much can you increase prices before more people can't pay for their lunch, and we're already having that issue
And then we
big
fight
time.
that battle on the
So,
backside.
You can increase
Yeah.
your price, but you're still not gonna have any more money, because then 5 more people can't pay their lunch,
Yeah,
so, I don't know.
yeah, and kind of trend it out. I
And
mean,
I-
if we bumped it up last year, try to, maybe a
And
break this year.
Looking at our breakfast
Maybe
price,
bump
we
and-
were low
yeah.
compared to all the other schools that had responded to the emails. So the next lowest school besides us that responded was at $1.70. So,
Any further questions or discussion? I think we are where we need to be. Lindsay, will you call for the roll?
Cindy,
Yes.
Eric,
Yes.
Cody,
Yes.
Michelle,
Yes.
Jennifer,
Yes?
DJ.
yes.
Item P on our agenda tonight is admission prices for games. This information was also sent out to you. Can you reiterate?
Recommendation is to keep it the same, 7 adults, $7 for adults, $5 for students, and $2 for seniors.
The season passes stay the same.
That's coming.
We will get to
Okay.
that one, yep.
Yep.
Looking for a motion in relation to admission prices for athletic games. Oh, this is just for athletics, right?
Yes,
Yes, athletics.
Just for clarification, it was 7, 5, and 2?
correct, yep,
And seniors were stipulated at,
60. Oh.
sorry, that's a hard question.
It is, and it
It was
says it
either
right on the
55
thing.
or 60, and we looked at it, and I
We
just
did.
don't remember.
So we'll have that
I
posted
think
though.
60.
Yes,
Yes,
it's on.
It's
it'll
on
be
the
posted.
sign, yep.
I make a motion to set admission prices as presented.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Cody has a second. Any discussion on this item? Discussions? Discussion? Seeing none, Lindsay, will you roll it off?
DJ,
Yes.
Michelle,
Yes.
Eric,
Yes.
Cody,
Yes.
Jennifer,
Yes.
Cindy.
Yes. Item Q is activity fees. I believe this is what you were talking about in relation to annual passes.
Yes, and I believe that was in there,
It was $20 a student,
Yeah.
$50 an adult
yeah.
for the annual pass.
And, I mean, I guess my recommendation is to keep it the same. I mean, unless you're gonna raise them $50 each, you're not gonna make money anyway, so there's no point. We want people to come to our games,
Yep.
we don't wanna deter them from coming to our games.
Mhm.
So I guess there's no point, in my opinion, of raising these amounts for it. And also, within this one, workers for it also. The tie in there was nothing we were gonna change on the workers' pay schedule either, for that. Mr. Schaefer seemed to be able to find people to work the games at that price. We did bump it up a couple of years ago, because any school staff, they get taxes taken out of it. So this kinda offsets that amount, so the recommendation is just to keep those amounts and fees the same for this upcoming year.
How do they keep track of who has an activity pass?
There's a list on the gate box.
They also get a pass.
They get a pass.
Just like we get the one, as a board
Yeah,
member.
but
I would check the year though.
so many people, Eric,
Throw 'em
show
away.
up without them, but in the gate
Sorry,
box, the ticket box, there's a list of people
Cause
that all have
I
them.
covered for somebody once and somebody showed me a pass, but they weren't on the list, so I just assumed it was a different year,
Yeah,
cause they don't
The
change.
years are on them now, I believe.
Yes, there.
Yes, but
Yep.
if you hold it, make sure you check it.
And is this, or we still have the ability to like do kids can get in free and stuff?
Yeah, with activities,
with that,
like family
Like,
nights and
yeah, like
encouraging
if you're
them.
gonna have little kids play at halftime and stuff, we could all elementary kids.
you
could get
can
in
make
for-
that
Yeah.
exception for that game, yes.
Yes.
I think the handbook listed something along the line of pep band and participants also are exempt.
Players and pep band members will be admitted into home athletic games free of charge, so you can just say, and or planned activities, events.
Maybe we should stipulate that a little bit too. Good question. Okay, so we still have, asking for a motion to set the activity fees.
And the worker fees. This is all in one.
It's all on that scheduled list, is what you're saying?
Yes.
The
Yep.
recommended
Yeah.
scheduled list
Yeah.
as presented.
I'll make a motion to set the activity and worker fees as recommended and presented. Ever?
Second.
Second from DJ. Any further discussion in relation to the activity fees and worker fees? The only question I have is on the worker thing. Does it, this is probably maybe getting into the weeds, but is it always paid? If somebody chooses to sit and volunteer for the night, are they required to take the pay and then donate it back? Or is that, cause I don't think I've ever seen an ask to the
Yes.
community to work in the box.
I'll use Tina as an example because she's the Honor Society advisor. She has done it and the money's just gone to the Honor Society. It's not gone to her
Similar
directly.
to the concession stand consideration or anything like that.
And not last year, but the year before, I think it was when Mr. Wilson was having a hard time finding people, some classes had picked it up and then it would go to the, whatever class was doing it.
So there could potentially be a fill sheet if you would ask before.
There is already a fill sheet for
I don't
paid
think
and or
Mr. Schaefer-
volunteers.
I don't think
Mr.
it's-
Schaefer has it and sends it out to staff.
Oh, staff, but I don't think it's been a
not community
community
members
ask,
yet.
which you have to be cautious about, I'm sure, but
I think
Okay.
that came from getting the free activity, you
Yeah,
were opposite,
yeah.
the free activity pass for you and your spouse or significant other. Isn't that,
For,
like, that's why they have staff
That's
fill
not,
those?
not there yet. Because
Oh.
our staff technically
Yes.
isn't really supposed to do it because then it gets them into an overtime situation, so.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I was told that at one
again,
point.
sorry, I
Yep.
didn't wanna go down the rabbit
Rabbit
hole, but I
hole.
just wanted to clarify.
yeah,
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on activity fees and worker class fees? Any further discussion? Lindsay, all you.
Eric,
Yes.
Cody,
Yes.
Jennifer,
Yes?
Michelle.
Yes.
Cindy.
Yes.
DJ.
Yes.
Item R is coming up to the policy that was pre-discussed, FFI, personal electronic communication devices. Do we have a motion?
Can you read it?
Yep, I'll read it. I move to adopt policy FFI, personal electronic communication devices, prohibition during instructional time on first reading and waive second reading to expedite the policy adoption process per board policy BDA.
We have a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Is there any discussion related to the policy?
Can you read it? The actual
Whole thing?
policy?
You
Yeah.
had,
It's
I don't-
6
in your packet.
pages.
You have 6 pages.
We can go through the
Not gonna
highlights if
read
you'd
it.
like. Absolutely.
Where is it? Is it, you know, which email it's in?
It was in the first email, like the board packet one.
do you want a hard copy of it?
Yes.
So the highlights, there's some defined sections related to it. Obviously, the first paragraph of any policy, for the most part, defines the definitions of the words that they're gonna use in there. So you can take a gander through there. We'll take a little time if you wanna take just a roll through.
Well, I'll just, where are these phones gonna be at during school time?
So the policy is not gonna dictate the procedure of where the phones will be. That is not up for approval right now. The policy is just related to
That they're not used during
that they're not
instructional
allowed
time.
to be used during instructional time in the building. There will be policy defined in the handbooks, I believe. Procedures.
Defined.
There
Where
will
they're
be procedures related to this policy in the handbooks for the applicable staff, elementary and high school, that you will have full time to review those procedures before we approve the handbooks at the next meeting.
So we don't have to provide a place for those to go?
There is the suggestions already in the procedures of a place for those to go, yes.
So that will be coming through the,
And you had that on your email, Mr. Locken, right? The different
Yes.
and we
options.
just had this meeting right before this
Yeah.
meeting, so we apologize, we couldn't get our group together to get it done last week so that you would have had more time to review this, so that,
But the policy committee is not defining where those phones
where
are
they're
going to
going,
be.
no.
We pulled,
It's just the policy they can't be used during instructional time is the gist of the policy.
Of the policy,
Of the
right?
policy is just saying students can't have them in their possession to be used during instructional time. So that's from when they walk in the door until they leave.
So
And the
even
po-
between classes, there's,
Correct.
No, yeah.
They will not be accessible
Not
at lunchtime.
how does it work for staff then?
There's a definite,
That's in here.
yep, I'll read that paragraph for you, cause we did discuss that.
Do you have the updated one, though, Jen?
I do not. Do you have the updated?
Eric's got the updated one.
So I think you're on
In there.
page. Did you make a note when you were going through it too?
So basically, staff could use it for emergency communication and taking pictures to share with parents, but it says in there, if it's for personal use, it should be done during their non-instructional time.
And we did clarify this in policy, this is a very good question. This is specific to the way we wanted it. Employees may use personal devices for non-school related reasons during non-instructional time and other breaks in the school day. For personal reasons.
Okay,
But
that,
there was conversation also about them, how they use it in relation to Seesaw.
And that's listed here above that.
Yep,
WhatsApp is our way of communicating.
in the building. So
In the building.
employees are also expected to follow acceptable use of technology and professional code of conduct policies when using their own personal electronic communication devices during instructional time. And from what Mr. Curry said in policy, this will be part of professional development the first day the teachers are in building.
Conversation about it, yes.
So there will be communication and conversation with staffing, but the administration does have a concept of how those procedures will lay out.
so you'll have an elementary handbook for the elementary, you'll
Yep.
have one for the high school, and then an employee handbook.
Staff
for the-
handbook.
Staff handbook.
Correct.
So what about like the cooks and the
Their staff.
There's
any other
there's staff.
that doesn't have, then none of their time's instructional time.
Yeah, but their
It's
staff, but basically the idea is, and not to
But
get the
they're-
weeds, cause
they're-
it'll come through handbook, but you don't walk down the hallway with your face buried in your phone.
Correct.
If you're behind your counter and you need to look up a recipe, go ahead and do it, but adults are expected to be mentors for our students. Especially throwing this policy, because we have many adults that have issues with phones as well. It's not just kids, but kids are getting the brunt of it, and it's law, so we have to do it, but the adults are expected to show the kids, I mean,
Mindful.
the proper way to use them also, and not,
We could reference
Yes.
this policy now to address it, whereas
Yes.
before, I
We
feel
didn't have
like our
anything.
hands were tied if there was a staff member. I'm gonna trust that they're doing it for the right
Yeah.
reasons, but.
so like custodians, they have their custodian office, so yes, when they're tucked back in there, can
They
they
can
use
use
their phone? Yep,
Absolutely.
go ahead. Are you walking down the hall like this? No, you are not.
So that does bring a good question, is instructional time maybe not the right phraseology for staff? But I think this is more, yeah.
I don't know what you're
instructional
gonna
time
put
is
in
around
there
Yes.
to make sure that you
have to
cover
hit every
everything.
single.
It's the
Yeah.
conversation that's had.
Okay,
Yeah.
I mean,
perfect.
and like I said, and the conversations that had, and if
Enforced.
somebody's doing it, it's a conversation that's had, yes.
And I anticipate it would be part of your supervisor relationship anyways.
So there hasn't been discussion on it yet, or you guys gotta decide how that'll be, but what are some thoughts of what will happen with these phones during the school? Is there gonna be a check-in at the front office then?
That's what they're
So
gonna
the
be discussing.
concept that was out the last couple of months in your board packets had those lock boxes consideration, and there is considerations of lock boxes for them and where they will be placed.
But does that need to be approved and purchased, or can that just happen to get them here in time, if that's what's gonna?
Well,
already.
no, I mean,
We haven't purchased it.
We can-
I'd leave that.
we can just purchase them.
Yeah.
They're kind of tying the curriculum a little bit now. So, and that's the frustrating part, and we were talking about it a little bit before, is it costs money to buy this, and it's gonna cost close to $2,000 to buy these lock boxes to have enough for kids to put them in for that. But, you know, and that's the frustrating part, is then they take the funding out of this bill. Well, there's 2,000 out of our budget, but it's hopefully a one-time expense that goes to it, and that's the route that we think will be best, because otherwise, if we do lockers, we have to buy padlocks. there's a $2,000 expense. If we just have kids in backpacks, we're gonna have nothing but issues all day. So, in talking with Mr. Locken, you know, it's a little bit easier for Mrs. Bussey because those kids are in the same room most of the day. Hang a shoe pouch, put them in the shoe pouch, see you later, out the door you go. Different in the secondary, because they're a little more tied to them and, you know, any
And
access to
that
them.
has to be locked so nobody else can,
Yep.
for theft, and then what do you do when they, I mean, it's a key, like key code, it's not
No,
key or what?
Teacher has a key.
So so the original boxes that came through on our stuff was individuals with individual keys and individual codes and/or was the options. Just to
Yeah.
clarify modifications, since then they've talked about a one box lock with the
With a
person in
teacher.
charge of the room.
With different compartments in it, so each student will still
But
have
they
his
go there in the
compartment.
Like
morning
one
and
But
they
just
go
door,
in.
one
you lock
door.
'em all. Oh, that's
Yes.
way smarter.
one door.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
Yes. For that, and we'll get into the gist of it more so in August, but there's an idea of where to put them with low-tech kids, and even kids that are gonna leave early, so that they're not disrupting classes during the day also. Yep.
So procedurally,
Cause
it's
if a
to
kid
come.
goes to VOTEC and then is gonna leave from there, or if you got sports, I mean,
So
there's just
the
gonna be all
VOTEC
sorts
will
of
have their
issues.
own requirements, cause
Right.
this is a legislative thing that applies to them too. So they will have their own requirements for when the cell phones are in their buildings. And it does talk here, that's one, did we talk about that in our committee?
About VOTEC?
About
Running
bus
trains
rides,
for them.
bus rides, they will be able to have their phones for the bus ride.
And then, like, if somebody's going to VOTEC and then being picked up to leave, is there exemptions where you can take your phone with
They
you?
can
and-
take their phone
They're
on
They're taking them
VOTEC.
with to VOTEC,
And then it just,
VOTEC will lock them up or do whatever their
Then once they
procedure
get
is
to
at their
VOTEC,
end.
they're under VOTEC
Mhm.
policy.
Not our school policy, but
Right.
theirs. So we did, some of these things were covered, but we tried to stay away from the procedural side of it,
Right.
but those are all very good questions for you guys to consider.
And they've had a lot of conversation, and we've had a lot of conversation, and the policy just kind of sets the parameters of it. The procedures will be more so of what it's going to look like, and it might be in September that they come back to you and say, nope, we're gonna do this,
Yeah.
we're changing this. Who knows how it's gonna go and how it's gonna work. There's gonna be changes, but you gotta start someplace.
So that's why some of the procedural side of it is not in the policy in front of you to vote on. So the recommendation for the policy has been presented to you. Did we have, Lindsay, did I have a motion
And a second.
and a
Yep.
second? Any further discussion? I totally lost track of it, sorry. Any further discussion on the policy for electronic devices? And the policy does stipulate what is considered an electronic device. And we left that by school board as recommendation. We'll see where it goes. Okay, final discussion? Nothing further, Lindsay, please?
DJ,
Yes.
Eric,
yes.
Cody,
Yes.
Cindy, Jennifer,
Yes.
Michelle.
Yes.
Item S on the schedule is a tuition agreement.
Last year, kind of over the last couple of years with tuition agreements, you know, we do have an open enrollment policy. Kind of our precedent has been follow that policy for it. We did make a couple exceptions just because the kids came to school here and they missed the deadline. But same one with this one from Valley City, Jamestown, wherever for this one. When I had talked to the parent, I kind of told them that too, that, you know, we've kind of set the precedent where you go through the proper channels, meet the deadlines, whatever. So I guess my recommendation would be to take no action on this tuition agreement policy. And I will call the parent and say, yeah, go ahead if you wanna come, go through the open enrollment process next year.
So do we need a motion on that, or we just move ahead?
I think we just move
If
ahead.
there's no motion on the table, I don't see a motion. With no motion, we don't pick this up. On to item T. T is to approve the consolidated application for 2025 and 2026 This was also in board packet 1, I believe.
Yeah.
Am I correct?
Super interesting reading, but,
Yes.
basically this is for our federal title funds. And the only ones we know about right now are Title I. That's the only one the feds have sent out to any of the states, so we don't know anything about 2, we don't know anything about 4. If we're getting them, how much we're getting, whatever, but I think even our Title I went down, projected 8,000, Lindsay? From 89 to 81, for that, so basically what I need is for your approval, so I can submit this application for our federal funds. We know we're getting Title I, and hopefully we get the other ones, cause it's about $36,000.
What's the timeline on if you hear anything on the rest of it? Just,
Oh, the federal government.
That's
You tell me, Cody.
Okay.
Yeah, we've heard nothing, they don't know,
They send at least one email a week saying they still don't know.
yeah.
Looking for a motion in relation to the consolidated application.
Make a motion to approve the consolidated application for 25-26.
Is there a second?
Second.
DJ, any further discussion on the consolidated application? Discussion? Discussion? Lindsay?
Cindy,
Yes.
Eric,
Yes.
Jennifer,
Yes?
Michelle,
Yes.
Cody,
yes.
DJ.
Yes.
Item U is destruction of records.
So I missed including this in the packet on Friday. I didn't notice it until this afternoon when I was putting all this stuff together. I'm like, oh, I didn't have that. So I sent it this afternoon, but if you didn't see it, it's pretty much the traditional stuff. And then at the bottom, I've slowly been trying to go through some more file cabinets and old records and old boxes and whatnot. And so I just kind of did like election notices, anything prior to 2025. So I would keep 2025, but get rid of 24 and older, because and older means a lot. So that's why those are kind of how they're listed there, just because it's lots of years of stuff. So like, I don't even know how many years, to be honest.
Does anybody need to see the listing, or are you okay with everything on the listing? Okay, I need a motion if you're okay with the listing of destruction of records.
Make a motion for the destruction of the listed records that is in our board packet. Does that work?
Is there a second?
A second.
Any discussion? Any discussion? Do you still have a long ways to go on old stuff?
I find more every time I open a drawer or a box or.
Okay. So we'll continue
Someday
to work on.
someday it'll get there.
Any further discussion? Lindsay?
Eric,
Yes.
DJ,
Yes.
Cody,
Yes.
Jennifer,
Yes?
Cindy,
Yes.
Michelle.
Yes.
And then our added item of V, to establish a BCN FFA chapter. Mr. Curry, do you have a recommendation?
I do, we are just, Stacy had emailed me today, just with the application, to look at starting an FFA chapter, because you have to submit one, and then it's gotta get approved, for that, so I would like a motion to establish a Barnes County FFA chapter.
I will make a motion to establish a BCN FFA chapter.
I'll second that.
Cody, you have a second? Any discussion? There is no stipulated timeline with this still, though. This is still a ongoing process.
Yep.
Okay. Any discussion? Any discussion? Lindsay?
Michelle,
Yes.
Jennifer,
Yes?
Eric,
Yes.
Cody,
Yes.
DJ,
Yes.
Cindy.
Yes.
We're into the miscellaneous section of things. Cheyenne Valley Career and Tech, I believe, was
Oh,
there
that
something
meeting's tomorrow.
forwarded
Yep.
from last?
Yeah, we got minutes
Meeting's
from the
tomorrow
last
5.
meeting.
Yeah.
That was after our last.
There was
meeting.
one from after, but
After our last meeting, but yeah,
I don't think there was anything.
No. Nothing earth
I
shattering.
don't think so either. No. So no update at this time. Mr. DJ, you're on docket for next month.
I'm on it.
Mr. Curry, Cheyenne Valley Special Ed Unit.
Just had a meeting the other day, approved director and business manager and teacher contracts, and don't get pump the brakes a little bit here, but our carryover for this year was close to $1 million for that. So it's been proposed of a 25% decrease in excess costs. And I had given that number to Lindsay right away this morning. And I went back to my office and thought about it. So I went down to 20 because I'm still a little gun shy from 3 years ago when we had to kick a bunch of money in because we didn't keep enough in there. So I'm not sure when we get into budget and finance, we'll kind of decide where to go. But we are gonna save some money, or should save some money this year on that. You know, whether it's $38,000 or $25,000 for that, and then approved a maternity leave and resignation of a pre-K, and thankfully I was on the call long enough where I was able to elect or nominate Dan and Anna to the president and vice president, so I didn't get stuck in either of those roles. So that was pretty much the gist of the meeting.
Was there any further conversation related to the paras? Are they on ours now, or are they
No.
still within the?
They're still on theirs, but the para numbers within the district have decreased immensely.
Due to needs?
Due to needs, yes, Jennifer did a good job of going through and looking at needs, and more so, not so much BCN, but other buildings, and kind of, if they quit not filling or moving those around or getting rid of them. So I think it's more efficient now than what it was, and maybe that is a little bit part of the 967 carryover as well.
So
And the projected budget for next year.
So at this time, the BCN school is not looking to have to pick up any additional paras that would be transitioned out of Cheyenne Valley. That's what I'm asking, I guess. Because they're keeping the special ed paras
Right.
on there.
Yep.
Wasn't it at conversation?
It was conversation about the schools owning them, so then they would just be general ed and could do either or.
Okay.
For that, but that was just, I mean, partially on my side of it is, I thought within our unit, we were way too watered down with paras.
Okay.
But she's done a good job of
Okay.
taking care of that.
Nothing
issue.
that we have to look at.
Not right
Got
now,
it.
no.
Got it. Any further questions for the special ed units report? With nothing left on here, we are adjourning. Our next meeting is scheduled according to the pre-approved schedule, August 20th at 7 p.m.
Good job, Madam President.
Have grace. Be gracious to me. Do you want this?